So on this episode of the Wynn Show, we have Tim McGee here with us. He is from the Theater of the Republic in downtown Conway, and we're super excited to learn about the theater, about you, because my understanding is that the theater has really sort of taken on a new life and a new breath. But to get everybody caught up with what the theater even is, can you just start us at the bare bones and tell us, Tim, what is the Theater of the Republic?
Well, the Theater of the Republic is actually celebrating its 50th year. And it was formed 50 years ago by a group of people in Conway who decided that there needs to be a theater or community theater in Conway. So they all got together with the city council, and everyone was back in it. So they did shows in restaurants, they did shows in halls, in other auditoriums and stuff. So they've been doing theater for such a long time. And then in 1999, they had the old Holiday Theater, which had burned down, and it was sort of basically a shell. And so the city, the Holiday family, donated the theater to the city.
Okay.
The city then offered the theater to the Theater of the Republic if they would remodel it. So then they went on a major fundraising campaign through the community and raised over $1 million to bring it up to where it's at today.
And that location
Yes.
is the location that it's in now on Main Street in Conway?
That's
is that
correct.
where the Holiday Theater was
the Holiday
that burned
Theater.
down?
Yes.
Oh my goodness,
And
okay.
yes, and the actual marquee that we have up there is the original, not the original, but it's a replica of the original marquee of the Holiday Theater. But the theater has a lot of history, but it's not, you know, it's been rebuilt. So it's not a historical building because all it was left was the brick shells. But they rebrought it back to exactly how it looked. So so it's been around. I was in a bank. And they had photos of Conway back in the 1950s, and there was the Holiday Theater.
Oh.
And it was pretty interesting to see how the town has changed. And but the theater is all about the community and getting locals involved. And then when I came on board, we went from doing 2 to 3 shows to 10 shows to making it grow.
Holy
and then
moly.
one of the blessed things about this area is a lot of people move to the beach area thinking they're going to be in, they're singers or dancers, and they want to be in the Carolina Opry, they want to be in the, you know, all these theaters and stuff that were down here. So they get down here, and it's a different way to get into those shows. And so here they are. You sign a lease for 6 months at least. Right. So I have all these, every year some new people move in with great talents, so they want to use, keep their voice in work and keep their skill going. So they come and audition, and that's why every time we do a show, you'll see new people and very talented people.
So we thank you for that on the theater's history, but tell us a little bit about you as well. So when did you come on with the theater?
I have loved theater since the day my sister threw me up in front of a church to sing in a cantata. And
you gotta love siblings that way, right?
It was my first solo, and I sang that, and I loved it, and then I've been singing ever since. Then I went to college. I did not go to college for theater. I went to a very small liberal arts college in Southern Ohio. And I got there just having a good time, partying. Really
it's okay to share that
stuff.
So
I thought I'm going to be a teacher, and so I got into I started doing the courses for teaching. It's like, I don't like this, don't like it. And so then I sort of just got in student government at the college. I got involved in my fraternity. And then I sort of ended up with just a basic communications degree, which, that means nothing.
Oh my gosh.
The whole time I always was involved in theater. So I got involved in theater in college. And then when I got out of college, I went to a little town called Marion, Ohio, and they had this historic theater that seated 1,400 people. And I was asked to direct a show, and I never directed. So I directed Jesus Christ Superstar, which was a massive undertaking.
Start off with something small, okay?
And I loved it. So I've been involved in volunteer theater all my life.
Oh, wow.
And I always wanted to go to New York, but I was terrified. I didn't want to go to New York to be a director or be in theater. I just wanted to be in that world. I wanted to be around the theater people. I wanted, if I could be an usher or a backstage person or something like that. But it takes so much education and degrees to get into that professional, New York area. And it's also being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
So then I went into retail. So I was a buyer for JCPenney's, and once you get into retail, you're there for life.
Okay, but hang right there just a second, because in what you've shared so far, there are so many things that I think people who are watching could really grab a hold of and say, oh, me too, me too. So let's go first off to your sister throwing you in front of the church, right? So lots of people have had that experience or can relate to being in the front of the church and letting their light shine in that way, right? The other thing, though, and this I had no idea of until you just shared it, is going to college with an interest in teaching initially, and then coming out with a communications degree.
Correct.
Ask me how I know about that. Did the same thing.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Also, I'm sorry that I said which means nothing.
Which means nothing, I know, right?
No, to me it meant I didn't do anything with it.
Okay, so that was the other thing I was like, yeah, well, I don't know. But let me tell you, so when I came back out, though, I was like, well, all I ever wanted to do is be a teacher, and now I can't get a job. So I went back and got a master's in teaching so that I could teach. So I did, but this isn't about me, it's about you. But to sit here and to say, oh my gosh, I can't believe we just have so much in common. And who knew, right?
Yeah,
so, but you go to college, you change your mind, you come out with something different, but you have this love of theater.
Yes, I do.
And you're always in that, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And if we can, just for a second, I want to go into what you were saying about going to New York as well. Because I think people can really relate to that. So, tell me a little about...
I came from a very strict family, and so I did not like the structure that I was brought up in. The town that I was brought up in, it was a very small town, and I just wanted to, I wanted to see the world.
Okay.
And so by going to a small private college, not even an hour from my home, so I didn't really get out. So New York was something that I thought, oh, if I can go over. So I did, well, once you get out of college, you have to start paying bills.
Yes.
So
yes.
I did.
Hear that.
I did a lot of different jobs that were so embarrassing and humiliating to me but I did them so that I could get myself together, whatever I wanted to do. And so I ended up, before I went to New York, I ended up working for Penny's. I became a buyer. I enjoyed the part of buying. I was in charge of the women's dresses and the junior sportswear, and so I would go to the market, and it was very interesting. JCPenney's back in those days, every store had their buyers, and so like if you go to JCPenney here, there'd be a different clothing than here.
Okay.
But now it's all just uniformed. So I enjoyed that, and then I also enjoyed doing the visual displays of our store. So that's a little bit of theater.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm always
using those gifts.
Very artistic, and I feel I'm very creative, and so that was something that I said, okay, I'm going to go to New York. So I took some money, I saved some money, and I went to New York.
Okay.
Took a 2-week vacation, and I said, I'm going to look for a place to live.
Okay.
I'm going to look and see. I got there, and now I'm talking, this is 35 years ago, 35 years ago, whatever. But I found a little place in Hoboken, New Jersey.
Okay.
And it was $1,700 a month back then.
Wow.
And it was a long, narrow, and the floor was tilted like that. And then I started looking at jobs and thinking, oh my God, and it just overwhelmed me. It frightened me.
Okay.
So I think the city, if I would have went to the city, it would have swallowed me up.
Okay. I think that's important for people to understand.
I am not a good, if you're going to throw a party tonight, I'm there.
Okay. All right.
If you're going to throw a party tomorrow night, I'm there. So here in Myrtle Beach, I have, I love the beach because it's also a party atmosphere. It's a fun atmosphere, and I love I love to be around a mixture of people. I do not like to be into a one group of society. I love the culture and melting pot of our world, of our society. So Myrtle Beach to me is that. It's a tiny little, in my mind, I make it a little tiny New York. You get every kind of restaurant you want. You will meet everybody from every nationality, from every walk of life, and Then we have the ocean. Well, the Theater of the Republic is the Republic of Horry County. That's what it used to be called.
Okay.
That's the how they used to say it back in the older days. So they took that, and then I thought, oh. So I called, and they literally interviewed me like I was being hired as Secret Service.
Oh my.
And I thought, maybe this is a cult. I don't know. So I said, so they didn't let me direct. So they didn't let me direct. And I had a lot of directing experience. And so I said, okay, thank you. And then one of them called me and said, Tim, we saw that you sent your resume to be a director, but we're doing Big River. Would you like to stage manage? I said, sure. I said, I would love that. And she says, well, I said, how are you going to make the raft move?
Okay.
And she says, we're not.
Oh dear.
And I thought, okay. So I thought about it, and I thought, okay, I would go in there and I'd have to keep my mouth shut because I would know how I know how to make the raft move already without even saying it. So I just called and said no. I was busy.
Okay.
And
standing in your own ground, knowing
well,
what's,
I just know who I am.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you know who you are, you know either you're going to either go into a situation and you're going to be quiet and do what you're told, or you're going to sit there and go, I'm so miserable because I can't speak my opinion. I can't give my creativity. So instead of putting them through my pain or my anger or frustration, I just said no.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's a big lesson for people who watch, right? Because when you know it's not going to match, you have to be able to say, we're not going to match in this way.
And I wasn't insulting them.
No,
I wasn't
It's
criticizing.
just recognizing.
But it's just like, for example, if you're going to work, if you get a job at Wendy's, say, and you're in the drive-thru and you have to stand there and do that, and if you don't have the patience then you should. What you're doing is also driving other people crazy, and it just makes the environment bad. So that's what I try to be careful when I get involved in stuff, because I knew who I am, and how I react, and I think every one of us know that. I have certain tendencies. I react different ways, and so you have to take all that in. Yeah.
So here you are, respectfully declining, and then
Diane Devon Stokes. I don't know if you know her, but she was on the board of the theater, and I ran into her somewhere, and she said, I introduced. She goes, "Oh yes, you're the one that sent the resume." I said, "Yes." I said, "But they wouldn't." It was like a big. I just felt very uncomfortable. I thought I was interviewing for a major job, and it was basically a volunteer directing.
Yeah.
They paid $400 for a donation for.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So she went back to the board, and then I get a phone call, and they said, "Tim, we want you to direct." I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, what do you want me to direct?" They go, "Cabaret." I said, "Oh no, I don't want to do cabaret." I said, "Do you know? Are you aware about cabaret?" And I said, "It's not Liza Minnelli singing Life is a Cabaret, and it's not like," I said, "It's very dark, it's sexual, I said, so I don't know.
Not sure that's a fit for the Republic of Horry.
Yeah, and I said, I don't think I want to introduce myself to the community with this show, because I'm a Yankee.
Right.
In the southern little town, and I don't think I want to bring cabaret. So they said, well, what would you like to direct? And I said, well, you know what? I direct a show called 2 by 2, and it was a Rodgers Hammerstein, and it was Noah and his Ark, and it was a comedy.
Okay. This sounds a lot more like us. Okay.
Yeah. So it was Noah and his wife, and it's just a funny little musical. It didn't do well on Broadway. Danny Kaye starred in it way back when, but it showed them my creativity. We built this massive ark on the stage, and people were blown away by the ark. I had some of the local people starring in it, which everyone loved that, and there wasn't anything. I think the worst word in the one of the sons' wife, who all they thought about was money. They had an idea that when all the animals went to the bathroom, they would save it, because when they come to dry land, you would need fuel. Okay. So somewhere during the boat going through the water, the manure fell over and made the boat go. And so Noah comes down and says, where is all of this shit?
You can say that one more.
And then, so it's a funny type of musical. So that was the worst song in it, word in it. And so, but it was funny. And so after I directed that, they asked me to be on the board.
Okay.
So I was very honored. So I got on the board, and I'm still working in retail.
Okay.
And so I got on the board, and after a year and a half, they asked me to be president. So I became president of the board. And then here I am involved in this little theater in South Carolina, and I'm reaching a goal that was always in my mind.
Wow.
But I thought I would die and never reach it. But never once in my life did I think it would be in Conway, South Carolina.
Yeah.
And so that's where people look at my job and say, oh my God, I'd love to have your job. I said, I love my job. My job is what I dreamed of having, the perfect job. And so my thing is, no matter what your job, perfect job it is, you think you need to go to the city, you need to go here. Every town has something that, if you have a passion for something, you can find it in every town. I literally get to every day take people and move them around on stage and create my dream, my vision.
Wow.
So who gets to do that?
That's amazing. I mean, that's really big.
who gets to do that in life?
Yeah.
And I mean, you talk about business owners and stuff. Yeah, they take their people, but when I'm done with it, there's this piece of work that not just me, but it's the choreographer and the vocal coach and everybody. But it's my vision. It's what as I'm reading the script, I'm sitting here going, okay, I see this, and I block it and I move it and I say that. So, and what's wonderful is the people do it.
Wow.
And then at the end, I have either sit there and going, oh, that was wonderful, or, oh, I could have done that better. Oh, I wish I had done that. But that is my job. Every day I go to work, I'm trying to think of something new and different. And I just love it.
So let's talk a little bit. Let's do this. Okay. Is there a piece of advice that you were given that you ignored, and now as you look back, you're glad you ignored it?
Ignored. That I'm glad I ignored it?
Yeah. Or that you're not, or but sometimes well-meaning people will give us advice, and we're like, thanks, but that doesn't really work for me. And then later you're like, God, I'm glad I didn't listen to them.
No, as far as what I was given one time was never be too confident or too cocky.
Okay.
And I don't think confident and cocky are the same word, but I have to have confidence to do what I do. So if I would have said, okay, or basically blend in, don't try to
be vanilla.
Be a group, not a leader, not a follower. Just be a group. Just be the group. So I ignored that. I ignored that through all my life.
Good for you.
The one thing that someone told me to do that I didn't do that I wish I'd done was exercise.
Okay. Hey, it's never too late, right? You're still walking, talking, breathing. You can exercise when you leave out of here. Take the stairs. Don't take the elevator.
But one thing that I do. You do?
I do.
He
do-dos.
One thing that I have learned, and I think most people know it with yourself, is always trust your gut over your heart. Oh. And in the theater, I have to, when I cast somebody, and you're my friend and you're auditioning, but you weren't the best, and I don't want to hurt you, but my gut says this person's going to be better. If I go with my heart, I'll work with you a little bit, but my gut's saying this one's going to do it much better. So I have to go with my gut.
Go with your gut. Okay, that's important. Go with your gut. Your heart sometimes will. It'll, you don't want to hurt and you love and da. Go with your gut, folks. Go with your gut. I'll ask you one historical thing about the theater that most people don't know that would give us sort of the oh wow feeling.
Oh, I'll tell you one of the oh wow me that I'd never thought about it. In 2007, we produced Dreamgirls.
Okay.
And so the show's going on, and I'm sitting back at the theater, and this older gentleman walks up and says, congratulations. I said, oh, you like the show? He goes, yes, but congratulations, you've made history.
Oh.
I said, what?
How did you do
He
that?
goes, you make history. I said, how's that? He goes, this is the first time an entire black cast is on that stage.
Wow.
And I didn't even think about it. But the last time when that theater was open, colored people only had to go up the side steps to the balcony.
And you cast an all-black
And
show.
I've done Color Purple since. I've done Smokey Joe's Cafe. So that wasn't history because I didn't think that way.
Right, right.
But it was like, wow, never thought of that. But people do. Mm-hmm. So that was a wow moment for me.
Way to go.
And they were wonderful.
Of course.
And we're off. They come back all the time. And it was a wonderful part of my life. Moment of the theater for me.
That's really neat. And it's really sort of extra special in a way because you didn't even know that.
No.
You're just doing.
Didn't have a clue.
What you do, following your own passion, and then someone else brings
Mm-hmm.
that out.
Yep.
What word of encouragement would you give to someone who's watching this program? Like, what would you say to them?
Follow your dreams. Have a plan. Mm-hmm. And don't assume that it's somebody somewhere else. Look where you live. See what you can start your dream here. Dreams can start small and grow to big. And on the journey, it's just happiness.
I love that. I love that. No need to look anywhere else. Awesome. Thanks for being with us for this episode of The Wynn Show with Tim McGee of the Theater of the Republic in Conway, South Carolina.